Heroes who inspired and influenced me to pursue a career in wildlife conservation. I'd have to say it started back in elementary school in 7th and 8th grade when I used to have behavioral issues inside of the classroom. I was assigned to a guidance counselor by the name of Dr. Deborah Halls. And Dr. Deborah Halls felt as though all inner city youth particularly should be extremely appreciative of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Well, a part of my disciplinary punishment by Dr. Halls, I was forced to do different science fair projects, and interestingly and surprisingly, I winded up doing extremely well at these competitions and ended up winning at both the county level, the school level, and then will go downstate to compete, and did incredibly well. And that afforded me the opportunity to be able to attend the Chicago High School for Agricultural Sciences, in which that school had a animal science and natural resource conservation career pathway program. And in between my junior and my senior year of high school, I was able to get into an internship through the Campus to Careers program at Delaware State University, in which I was able to do aquaculture and fisheries work in the Department of Ag and Natural Resources. And the staff there were impressed with my passion for natural resource and wildlife conservation, so they offered me a full-time scholarship to attend Delaware State University after I finished high school. And so, again, Dr. Deborah Halls, who inspired me to do different science fair projects and helped me get my foot in the door at the Chicago High School for Agricultural Sciences, was very influential in helping me become interested in pursuing a wildlife conservation career. Fast forward later, when I was in graduate school, Dr. Fred Jansen, who accepted me into his graduate lab at Iowa State University, my research emphasis was focusing on reptile and amphibian conservation, and the actual research that I was conducting took place on a national wildlife refuge, which is the Upper Mississippi River National Wildlife and Fish Refuge. And Dr. Fred Jansen was also very influential in helping me get my foot in the door, and also helped me become exposed and interested in different wildlife conservation careers. What attracted me to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, it was a guest lecturer who came and spoke to our conservation biology class at Iowa State University from the local refuge, which was the Neil Smith National Wildlife Refuge in central Iowa. And never in a million years did I think that I could land a full-time position with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Fortunately, the actual refuge that I was doing my graduate research at, focusing on wildlife conservation with an emphasis on predator-prey interactions with reptiles and amphibians, the actual research was being conducted on the wildlife refuge that I'm working at now, the Upper Mississippi River National Wildlife and Fish Refuge. And so those opportunities in graduate school from that guest lecturer, in addition to doing research with wildlife conservation implications on the actual refuge, is what helped me get my foot in the door for the Federal Career Intern Program, which is a 2-year intern program. And I was able to get into that program, and then following completion of that program, I was able to be non-competitively placed into a wildlife biologist full-time permanent position at the station that I work at now. My advice to a young person interested in pursuing a career in wildlife conservation, I'd say first, volunteer at a local zoo, aquarium, pet shop, state park, or on a national wildlife refuge. That's a way that you can get your name out there, a way that you can increase your skill set and apply some of the concepts that you've learned in the classroom. I'd also say seek out different internships where you can get some hands-on experiences to build your resume early on. Also, it will be very useful to find a role model or mentor in the wildlife conservation field, someone who can relate to some of the hurdles and obstacles that you may endure during your journey to become a professional. And mentors have been extremely influential in helping me get over the hurdles that I've endured in my journey into the wildlife conservation profession. Uh, and last but not least, I'd say get involved with the professional society. For example, the Ecological Society of America, the Society for Conservation Biology, and the Wildlife Society. These professional societies have different networks of thousands of professionals and students who are able to help you get your foot in the door, whether it's by obtaining a graduate fellowship, assistantship, a research position, an intern position, scholarships, grants, the list goes on, by partnering with a professional society. So in summary, advice I would give to a young person who is interested in pursuing a wildlife conservation degree is to volunteer to get more hands-on experience, find a mentor or role model, someone who has similar interests and goals, seek an internship to further your skill set, and get involved with the professional societies such as the Ecological Society, the Society for Conservation Biology, or the Wildlife Society. What's it like being an African American in the wildlife conservation world? Well, to be honest, at times it can be daunting, intimidating, and challenging all at the same time. Walking into a room or a facility with thousands of people, and there's only a handful of people uh, that look like me, it can be very challenging. So, in summary, being an African American, it can be very challenging, it can be intimidating, it can be daunting, but with those challenges, they do yield opportunity in which we're able to give back in order to recruit and retain more underrepresented students who are interested in wildlife conservation.